Those guilty of lying during the SABC inquiry could find themselves behind bars. Absa says it will challenge a report saying it should pay more than 2 billion rand to the fiscus. It's Friday. Hello and welcome to it. You're watching eNews Direct. I'm Tutuzile Ramila.
And I'm Sandy Lekangose. Good evening.
To comment on any of our stories, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNews Direct.
And tonight our hashtags are SABC Inquiry and Absa.
MPs have promised strong action against anyone found to have lied to Parliament's ad hoc committee. The inquiry into the SABC board's fitness to hold office heard final testimonies today. Ad hoc committee chairperson Vincent Smith says the many contradictions must mean someone is lying, and those found guilty of doing so should go to jail because they spoke under oath. The panel heard evidence from former chairpersons Ben Ngubane and Ellen Shabalala today.
Somebody has misled Parliament, somebody has not taken us seriously, and somebody has to pay the price for it.
Harsh words from the chairperson of the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee as multiple contradictions emerged during Dr. Ben Ngubane's testimony. The former SABC board chair called out previous witnesses as liars. Dr. Ngubane was asked to explain who initiated the public broadcasters' The New Age breakfast deal.
Phil hosted 16 breakfast shows, the one you are talking about, without the approval of the board. He ordered 800 copies of New Age every day to come to the SABC. And he gave a business case why these breakfast shows were important, and that was good revenue for SABC.
But MPs were not convinced by his explanation.
Now, about the Guptas and the deals of the Guptas at the SABC that you've defended. You've defended the New Age breakfast deal, and you've defended contracts with the Guptas at Eskom as well. Now, it seems to me where you go, the Guptas follow.
The former board chair also told the committee that he hasn't seen the Public Protector's final report on the SABC, arguing that he questions its credibility. And on the subject of Hlaudi Motsoeneng, Dr. Ngubane only had praises for the man he says has contributed greatly to the SABC. He even justified the former COO's salary hike.
Now comes a report from the site which raises an issue that we have considered to be a normal part of the process. Hlaudi came in from the provinces at a very low salary. He gets given positions that make him reach the group executive level. And the disparity is huge. So if you work in that environment, a salary increase of 63%, considering where the person comes from, what stages you are putting him through, is not abnormal.
The committee will start deliberating next week. R.T. Narsi, Parliament.
Former SABC Chair Ellen Shabalala has until the close of business on Monday to provide Parliament with more information. She's admitted that political pressure did play a role in goings-on at the public broadcaster, and when pressed for details on allegations of political interference earlier, she declined to comment.
The issue on politicians' involvement, cross, I literally said cross. Other matters are written, others are verbal, others are through, communicating with certain people. So it is not in my nature to engage politicians to fight amongst themselves or to take each other to court.
No, we're not talking about your nature, ma'am.
I will not disclose. I reserve my right. I will not disclose.
You will not disclose?
Yes.
An apartheid-era bank bailout is the subject of speculation. A version of a provisional report into Absa's alleged apartheid-era looting has seemingly been leaked. The Public Protector's Office is expected to issue a statement on the potentially politically explosive investigation on Monday. The bank has confirmed that it has the report. It plans to challenge its findings and recommendations, which require the state to recover over 2 billion rand from the bank.
In her last days in office, then Public Protector Thuli Madonsela said she'd finalised but not signed her provisional report into the so-called CX matter. Her investigation centred on claims that the Mbeki administration had improperly failed to recover billions of rands in interest from an apartheid-era bailout given to Bank Corp. That's before it became Absa Bank.
I have investigated. It has been a lengthy investigation which has included interviewing former President Thabo Mbeki, former Governor of the Reserve Bank Chris Stolz, former Governor of the Reserve Bank Tito Mboweni. I will leave the provisional report. It will be sent to the parties, and the incoming Public Protector will, on receipt of responses to Section 79 notices, decide what to do with it.
Months later, and an alleged provisional report into the CX investigation has now been leaked. This report, which purports to be signed by new Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane, finds that Mbeki and his administration violated the Constitution by failing to recover over 2 billion rand in interest from the Bank Corp bailout from Absa. It also finds that the government must recover this money. Absa claims the provisional report contains several factual and legal inaccuracies. It also claims that it offered to provide certain confidential documentation to the Public Protector about the CX saga, but her office has not taken it up on this offer. We may not know the exact nature of this leaked document, but there is a bigger question here. Has the report, which Madonsela finalized but never signed, been altered in any way? And if it has, what evidence was used to justify such changes? Changes may have profound legal and political consequences. Karen Morn, Johannesburg.
Cosatu says the President and Secretary General of the ANC have done an about-turn on matters of succession. The ANC leaders previously argued that the deputy should become the head of the organization. The Labour Federation says the change of opinion is unfortunate.
ANC Secretary General Gwede Mantashe says his party will debate who should lead the party and the country, and that there's no tradition that sees a deputy automatically ascend to the top spot. But Cosatu says comments by Mantashe and President Jacob Zuma this week are at odds with what unfolded at the ANC's elective conference in Polokwane a decade ago.
He is the beneficiary of that practice. So for anyone now to wake up and try to play semantics over this issue is very insincere. And we still say we want to see that practice continues.
Political analyst and scenario planner Frans Cronje says this is an irrelevant argument on semantics.
I think what the Western bloc of the ANC is trying to do is to lead South Africa, the media and the analysts into such a dead-end debate in order to detract their attention from the fact that the leadership race might in many respects be settled already.
Cronje describes the ANC's National Executive Committee as being divided into two distinct blocs.
The Western bloc is that camp which is aligned against Zuma. Its members would include people such as Willem Kize, to an extent Gwede Mantashe would be there, Mr. Ramaphosa would be there, Pravin Gordhan would sit in that camp. And the Eastern bloc of the ANC would be closer to people such as Baleka Mbete, Jacob Zuma, the Premier League provinces, they sit in that camp.
Both the President and the Secretary General of the ANC are being accused of having selective memory. Cosatu is adamant it will be pushing for the principle or tradition, call it what you want, to be followed come December. Michael Apple, Johannesburg.
SAMU has accused Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba of trying to score political points. That's after he announced the suspension of city officials implicated in corruption. Mashaba insists that he's merely rooting out corrupt individuals. More than 100 employees at some of the city's licensing stations face possible arrest.
It's Herman Mashaba versus the South African Municipal Workers Union. The Johannesburg mayors come under fire from the Labour Union for his public announcement that 106 municipal employees are facing possible arrest. The workers have been linked to corruption at the city's licensing centres, totalling about 15 million rand between 2008 and 2016.
The mayor is actually using this particular issue as part of their public relations exercise. And you cannot take such sensitive issues around labor, wherein there's possible consequences of damages to images that cannot be repaired. In the event that it is proven, which is likely to happen, that these allegations have no substance, who's going to apologize to who?
But the mayor says he won't be silenced.
I find it difficult for anyone to expect us to turn a blind eye on this and sit on these reports and call this grandstanding.
The union, which insists it does not support corruption, says it stands by its members. While Mashaba says there's a solid evidence against the officials, he's questioned Samu's motives.
Samu says while Mashaba is busy cleaning up, he must also deal with corruption and the irregular appointments of leaders at JMPD. But the mayor has hit back, saying the union must provide evidence of its claims. Malungelo Boy, Johannesburg.
Gunfire has erupted in Ivory Coast's second largest city. Soldiers in Bouake have confronted protesters. The troops reportedly started shooting in the air after residents demonstrated against them. Talks between the country's defense minister and disgruntled soldiers have now had to be moved to a new venue. Last week's mutiny has already forced government to agree to the soldiers' demands for bonuses. Student leader Mcebo Dlamini will continue the fight to have charges against him withdrawn. Today, Judge Ratha Makgoatleleng delivered judgment on why he gave Dlamini bail last November. Makgoatleleng says there's no evidence to show that the Fees Must Fall leader has a propensity for violence. Dlamini's criminal case is expected to start in June. The Tshwane Metro Police constable accused of shooting dead a motorist last week has been released on bail. Takatso Mashego allegedly shot Tsakane Shimange in the chest after trying to stop him near the Gautrain station in Hatfield. Mashego has been released on 5,000 Rand bail. He's due to appear again on the 8th of February. If you've missed any of the stories we're tracking for you today, you can of course find us on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNews Direct. Or you can head on over to our website. That's enca.com/direct. After the break, your business news and your weekend weather forecast. In money matters, tougher credit regulations have weighed on Truworths in-store credit sales. The clothing retailer expects a lower half-year profit for the 26 weeks ended in December. The group has cautioned that diluted headline earnings per share will drop by 6% compared to the previous year. Total retail sales rose 21% to 10.2 billion rand. The growth was driven by cash sales as credit sales remained unchanged. New credit affordability assessment regulations introduced in 2015 have had a major impact on local clothing and furniture retailers. Let's see how the markets performed today. Let's check in with the Weather Center. Here's Joel Guy.
Need instant cash? Take a look on the bright side. Get a Cash Converters Sunny Day Mini Loan from 400 to 4,000 Rand. Only at Cash Converters.
Welcome to the Weather Center. Friday saw very unsettled weather persisting over the northwestern, central and southeastern parts of the country, and most of the thunderstorms you see here are going to stay with us throughout the night as we head into Saturday, and this area of thunderstorms will continue to move into the eastern areas. We also stayed with quite a lot of cloud blanketing much of the south coast, but clear skies persisted over the western interior. Now on Saturday we are going to have light rain and drizzle along the Eastern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal coastal areas. Then further into the central and eastern sections, we are going to stay with isolated to scattered thunderstorms. It's going to be sunny for the western half of the country, but a bit of cloud could still hang around along parts of the south coast. Now, isolated to scattered thunderstorms are forecast across much of the KwaZulu-Natal interior. Light rain along the coastal areas and over the southern sections. Temperatures in the lower to mid-20s across the province. We are going to have light rain along the Eastern Cape coastal areas and adjacent interior thundershowers around Matatiele. It's going to be mostly sunny and hot for the western and northern parts of the province. Clearer skies are forecast across the Western Cape, where hot temperatures are expected for much of the interior. Cape Town will manage a high of around 27 degrees. It's going to be sunny and hot for the bulk of the Northern Cape. Partly cloudy skies are expected for the eastern areas. Thundershowers are set to persist over the eastern areas of the Free State. Bloemfontein should get away with partly cloudy skies. We are also going to stay with thunderstorms across much of the northwest, with temperatures in the lower 30s across the bulk of the province. Pretty unsettled weather is forecast across Limpopo, especially over the eastern areas. Polokwane warming to around 26 degrees. Similar weather conditions across the Mpumalanga province, a high of 27 for Mbombela. Isolated to scattered thunderstorms will persist across Gauteng, Pretoria, warming to 28 degrees. On Sunday, we stay with stormy weather across much of eastern South Africa. Light rain for Port Elizabeth and George. Thunderstorms are set to intensify on Monday for Limpopo and Mpumalanga. Cloud and rainy for the east and the south coast.
Here's what's coming up after the break in your world of entertainment. An Elvis Presley festival rolls into a small Australian town. Fans of Elvis Presley are gathering in a small town in Australia to celebrate the American music icon this weekend.
Yep, the king of rock and roll is being honored at an annual event.
Presley may have left the building. He died in 1977. However, his legacy in music lives on.
Fans of the king of rock are rolling into town. The arrival of the Elvis Express marks the official opening of the park's Elvis Festival. The scorching heat hasn't stopped revelers from donning their best costumes. Jumpsuits, wigs and sequins are the order of the day. And fans are ready to shake, rattle and roll. The festival is celebrating its 25th anniversary. It's a major economic boost for the small town.
Well, look, it's the local economy just, goes through the roof this time of year. People come from far and wide and across the world to come to this, this prestigious Elvis, celebration, I suppose. And, look, local businesses, they get behind it, they support it. And, people in general just, they just love it. Live and breathe Elvis for a week, it's fantastic.
Organisers say they expect more than 20,000 people to attend this weekend.
A reminder of your top stories before we say goodbye. Those guilty of lying during the SABC inquiry could find themselves behind bars. Absa says it will challenge a report saying it should pay more than 2 billion rand to the fiscus. And that's our lot for the week.
Yep. After the break, Rhythm City.
We do love to hear from you. You can send us an email to enewsdirect@etv.co.za.
Or of course, you can just talk to us on Twitter and Facebook, and our handle is @enewsdirect.
Until Monday night, have a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye.